My name is Harper Lane. 8 years ago, I stood in the freezing rain, cradling my newborn twins while my ex-husband looked me in the eye and said, "Without me, you're nothing." He threw us out with nothing but $37 in my wallet. But tonight, I'm walking into the glittering gala where he once reigned, not as the abandoned wife, but as the woman who will make the entire room fall silent. And trust me, what happens next will leave you breathless. Before I share the rest of my story, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe if you've ever overcome the impossible. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. The ivory cardstock felt like lead between my fingers. My name, Harper Lane, was written in Colin's unmistakable script across the front of the envelope, each letter a ghost from a life I'd tried so hard to bury. I stood in my tiny architecture office, the late afternoon Seattle rain drumming against the windows, and stared at the charity gala invitation that had just arrived by courier. The Brewer Foundation annual gala at the Cascade Grand Hotel. My stomach twisted. The last time I'd been in that hotel, I was clutching my newborn twins in the rain while Colin stood in the marble entrance, his face cold as the November night. "Without me, you're nothing," he'd said, his voice carrying over the sound of Liam and Lucas crying against my chest. The doorman had looked away. The valet had pretended not to see. Even the rain seemed to avoid him while it soaked through my thin coat. That was 8 years ago. 8 years of clawing my way up from nothing, of sleeping on my sister's couch with 2 infants, of studying for my architecture license while working 3 jobs. 8 years of proving him wrong. I set the invitation on my drafting table, next to the blueprints for the Morrison Center, my first major solo project. My hands were steady now, not like that night. These hands had learned to create, to build, to sign contracts that meant something. But then I saw the handwritten note tucked inside the invitation. "It would be wonderful if you came. It's been too long. We need to talk. See." "Mama, why do you look scared?" I spun around. Lucas stood in the doorway of my office, his backpack sliding off one shoulder. Behind him, Liam was already digging through the snack drawer I kept stocked for their after-school visits. "I'm not scared, baby," I said, sliding the invitation under the blueprints. "Just thinking about work." Lucas tilted his head, the same gesture I made when I didn't quite believe something. "Is it about the mean man from the photo albums? The one Aunt Sarah says we're not supposed to talk about?" My heart clenched. They'd seen the wedding photos I'd hidden in the attic. Of course they had. 8-year-olds were basically tiny detectives. "No, sweetheart, that's old history." But was it? Colin's invitation burned beneath the papers. What game was he playing now? The Colin I knew didn't do reconciliation. He did conquest. "You're overthinking this," Ethan said, his hand steady on the building model as I adjusted another support beam. We were in his office at Cross Technologies, the city lights spreading out 30 floors below us. "The Morrison Center is going to be perfect." I wasn't looking at the model anymore. I was watching him, the way his eyes narrowed when he concentrated, how he unconsciously hummed while working. 2 years ago, he was just another CEO wanting an eco-friendly building. Now, I wasn't talking about the building, I admitted. He looked up, those green eyes seeing right through me like they always did. "The invitation?" I'd told him about it that morning, trying to sound casual. But Ethan had this way of reading the spaces between my words, understanding the architecture of my silences. "Harper," he came around the table, his hands finding mine. "You don't owe him anything. Not a conversation, not closure, nothing." "I know," but my voice cracked. "It's just, what if he tries to..." "To what? Hurt you?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "He'd have to go through me first. And Liam and Lucas. Have you seen how protective those kids are of you? Lucas told me last week he's been practicing his mean face in case anyone makes you sad." I laughed despite myself, then froze. Ethan was pulling something from his pocket, a small velvet box. "I was going to wait," he said, "but maybe you need to hear this now." He dropped to one knee right there in his office, with the model buildings around us like a tiny city of our dreams. "Harper Lane, you are the strongest person I know. You've built yourself up from nothing, created beauty where there was only space, and raised 2 incredible boys who think the sun rises and sets with their mama. I don't want to complete you. You're already whole. I just want to stand beside you, if you'll let me." The ring caught the light. A simple band with an emerald that matched his eyes. "The boys helped pick it out," he added, And that's when I started crying. They said it had to be green because that's the color of growing things, and you help things grow. I wanted to say yes. Every cell in my body wanted to say yes. But I need time, I whispered. Not because I don't love you. I do. God, I do. But I can't. I can't say yes while his shadow is still. I understand. He stood, pocketed the ring, and kissed my forehead. When you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'm not going anywhere. But as he held me, I made a decision. I would go to that gala. Not for Colin, but for me. To finally face the shadow so I could step into the light. We're coming with you. I looked up from my laptop to find Liam and Lucas standing in my bedroom doorway, their faces set in identical expressions of determination. They were wearing their fancy clothes, the button-downs and khakis I'd bought for their school concert. Guys, it's an adult party. We know about the invitation. Liam interrupted. We heard you talking to Ethan. And we Googled Colin Brewer, Lucas added, then quickly. Don't be mad. We just wanted to know why you looked so scared. My babies. When had they gotten so big? So protective? He's our biological father, I said carefully, patting the bed. They climbed up, one on each side. But being a father is about more than biology. Ethan's our real dad, Liam said firmly. He comes to our games, he helps with homework, he makes you smile. But this Colin guy made you cry, Lucas added. So we're coming, for backup. I pulled them close, breathing in their little boy smell of grass and pencil shavings. I don't think... Please, Mama. Lucas's voice was small now. We couldn't protect you before. We were too little. But we're bigger now. The next morning, I found Ethan in my kitchen making pancakes. He'd had a key for months now. The boys were already at the table, syrup everywhere. They want to come to the gala, I said. I know. They called a family meeting while you were in the shower. He flipped a pancake shaped like a dinosaur. Voted 3-1 that they should go. Let me guess who voted no. Actually, I abstained. This is your choice, Harper, but... He looked at the boys, then back at me. Maybe facing him with your whole family would show him and you how far you've come. Our whole family? I repeated. He smiled. Well, I'm hoping that's what we are. Ring or no ring. Lucas piped up through a mouthful of pancake. Ethan said he'll rent us tuxedos. Real ones. With the jacket and everything. And those shoes that click when you walk, Liam added. I looked at my boys, my brave, wonderful boys, and at Ethan, who'd become their father in every way that mattered. Okay, I said. We'll all go. The boys cheered. Ethan caught my eye over their heads, and I saw it there. Pride, love, and something fierce. Protection. Colin wanted to talk? Fine, but he'd be talking to all of us. The boutique in downtown Seattle was the kind of place I never would have entered 8 years ago. All soft lighting and saleswomen who looked like they'd never eaten a full meal. But Ethan had insisted, and now I stood before a 3-way mirror in a midnight blue gown that made me look like someone else. Someone confident. Someone whole. You're beautiful, Ethan said from the velvet couch where he waited with the boys. They were getting their tuxedos fitted in the next room, but had escaped to check on me. Mama looks like a princess, Lucas whispered. A warrior princess, Liam corrected. The kind that saves herself. Ethan stood, pulling a slim box from his jacket. I had this made, he said, opening it to reveal a delicate platinum necklace. 3 small charms hung from it, an H, an L, and another L. For your family. But no E, he said softly. This is about you 3. I'm just lucky to be along for the ride. As he clasped it around my neck, the saleslady brought over a tablet. Mr. Cross, the payment for the Morrison Center commission just processed. Should I send the confirmation to... Thank you, that's fine, Ethan said quickly, but I'd already seen the screen. The number, the date. My blood went cold. That commission, that was 2 years ago. The saleslady retreated. The boys, sensing tension, suddenly remembered their tuxedos needed checking. Harper, you paid Morrison to hire me? My voice came out strangled. Our first meeting wasn't... It was never real? No? He caught my hands as I tried to back away. Listen to me. Morrison came to me about the project. I suggested they look at your portfolio, that's all. That's all? That contract saved my company. Your talent saved your company. I just made sure someone saw it. And the Westfield project? The Chen renovation? The pieces were clicking together. How many, Ethan? How many of my contracts were actually you? He was quiet for a long moment. 4, in the beginning. just to get your work in front of the right people. So I'm just another charity case? Poor Harper needs a rich savior. Stop. His voice was sharp now. You think I invested in you because I pitied you? Harper, I've made millions on those buildings. Your designs, your innovation. Do you know how many companies are trying to poach you? Why do you think Morrison keeps coming back? Because you keep paying them to. I haven't paid anyone in 18 months. He pulled out his phone, showing me emails, company after company, asking about the architect behind their buildings. This is all you. It's been all you for a while now. I sank onto the couch, the beautiful dress pooling around me. Why didn't you tell me? Because I knew you'd react like this. Because you're so scared of needing anyone that you'd rather believe you're a charity case than accept that someone might have believed in you. He knelt in front of me. I gave you opportunities, Harper. You built the empire. I can't be helped, be loved, be believed in. He touched the necklace at my throat. Your ex-husband taught you that love comes with strings, that help means control, but that's not what this is. Then what is it? It's faith. It's seeing a brilliant architect trapped in a cycle of being overlooked and doing something about it. It's loving someone enough to help them fly, not to clip their wings. The boys burst back in, tuxedos impeccable, faces bright with excitement. Mama, look! Ma, we match Ethan! And they did. 3 men in my life, all dressed to stand beside me. I need you to understand something, Ethan said quietly while the boys admired themselves in the mirror. Tomorrow night, when Colin sees you, he's going to see what he threw away. Not because of the dress or the jewelry or me, but because you're going to walk in there as Harper Lane, the woman who built herself into everything he said you couldn't be. I fingered the charms at my throat. HLL, my family, my achievement, my choice. Okay, I whispered. Okay? I believe you. I'm still mad, but I believe you. He kissed my forehead. That's all I ask. The Cascade Grand Hotel rose before us like a glittering tombstone of my past. The last time I'd stood here, I'd been begging the doorman to call me a cab while rain soaked through my clothes and my babies wailed. Now I stepped out of Ethan's Tesla in midnight blue silk, my sons flanking me like tiny bodyguards in their perfect tuxedos. Remember, Lucas whispered, adjusting his bow tie, shoulders back, chin up. And if anyone's mean to Mama, Liam added, we use our words first. What happens if words don't work? I asked, amused despite my nerves. They exchanged a look. Then we tell Ethan. Ethan laughed, offering me his arm. Smart boys. The lobby hadn't changed. Same marble, same crystal chandeliers, same smell of old money and fresh flowers. But I had changed. The woman reflected in the gilded mirrors wasn't the frightened girl who'd been expelled from this world. She was someone else. Someone harder. Someone whole. Harper? Harper Lane? I turned to find Patricia Morrison. Yes, that Morrison, gliding toward us in champagne silk. My dear, you look absolutely stunning. Richard hasn't stopped raving about the community center. We had no idea Colin's ex-wife was the brilliant architect everyone's been talking about. Colin's ex-wife. Even now, that's how they saw me. Thank you, Patricia, I said smoothly. May I introduce Ethan Cross and my sons, Liam and Lucas. Her eyes widened slightly at Ethan's name. Cross Technologies was Seattle royalty, but then landed on the boys. Your sons? But I thought, Colin always said, people say a lot of things. Ethan interjected smoothly. Not all of them are true. The ballroom doors opened before us and 8 years collapsed into nothing. The same grand staircase where I'd made my debut as Colin's bride. The same stage where he'd given speeches while I stood silent beside him. The same... Harper. He hadn't aged well. That was my first thought as Colin Brewer materialized from the crowd. The golden boy charm had hardened into something sharper, meaner. His tux was impeccable, his smile practiced, but his eyes were calculating. Colin. I was proud of how steady my voice sounded. His gaze flicked to Ethan, to the boys, then back to me. You came. You invited me. I didn't think... He stopped, regrouped. You look well. I am well. An awkward beat. The boys pressed closer to my sides. And these are... our sons? I said. Liam and Lucas. Something flickered across his face. Our? The sons you signed away, Ethan said pleasantly. Though I should thank you for that. Adopting them was the second best day of my life. What was the first? Colin asked, though his jaw was tight. Ethan smiled. The day their mother agreed to let me try. I felt rather than saw the crowd beginning to notice us. Phones appearing, whispers starting. Colin's media smile slipped back into place. Well, this is unexpected. Harper, perhaps we could speak privately? No, Lucas said clearly. Mama doesn't go anywhere alone with you. Colin's eyes narrowed. You're nothing to us, Liam interrupted, his 8-year-old voice carrying surprising authority. You're just someone who hurt our mom. The whispers grew louder. Colin's face flushed. Harper, control my sons, I said quietly, are perfect exactly as they are. The music started then, saving us from whatever Colin might have said next. He was pulled away by society obligations, but not before shooting me a look that promised this wasn't over. You okay? Ethan murmured as we found our table. Yes, I said, and was surprised to find I meant it. Actually, yes. The evening progressed in a blur of small talk and careful smiles. People who'd ignored my calls 8 years ago now gushed about my work. Men who'd looked through me at Colin's parties now tried to hand me business cards. And through it all, the boys stayed close, their presence a constant reminder of why I'd survived. Then Colin took the stage. Good evening, everyone. Before we begin the auction, I want to share something personal. His voice filled the room. 8 years ago, I made mistakes. My marriage ended and my ex-wife struggled. It's been heartening to see her recovery, especially considering how hard those early days were for her. My blood turned to ice. He was really going to do this. But that's what tonight is about, isn't it? Second chances? Rising from difficult circumstances? I'm sure Harper would agree that sometimes we need help to get back on our feet. Sometimes we need sponsors, guardian angels, new relationships that open doors. The implication hung in the air like smog. Poor Harper, who'd needed a new man to save her. I felt the room's eyes on me, some pitying, some knowing. Ethan started to rise, but I caught his arm. No, I whispered. This is mine to handle. I stood slowly, my grandmother's voice in my head. If you must fight, do it standing. The room held its breath. You're right, Colin, I said, my voice carrying across the silent ballroom. I did struggle. Would you like to know why? Every head turned. Colin's smile flickered but held. Harper, I don't think... The night you threw me out, I continued, walking toward the stage, I had exactly $37 in my wallet. You'd frozen our joint accounts, canceled my credit cards, had your lawyer sent papers saying you'd fight for full custody if I asked for alimony. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I kept walking. I slept in my sister's living room with newborn twins. I worked 3 jobs while studying for my boards. I ate ramen so they could have formula. And yes, I struggled. I reached the stage steps. Colin's face had gone pale. But here's what you left out of your touching story. I never needed saving. Every contract I've won, every building I've designed, every award I've received, I earned those. Not because someone felt sorry for me, not because I traded one meal ticket for another, but because when you told me I was nothing without you, you were wrong. I climbed the steps. Someone, maybe Patricia Morrison, started clapping. Others joined. As for guardian angels and sponsors, yes, I've had help. From my sister, who babysat for free. From clients who took chances on unknown architects. From my sons, who gave me a reason to keep fighting. And yes, from Ethan Cross, who invests in talent, not charity cases. I stood beside Colin now, addressing the room directly. I've designed buildings that house families, that use sustainable technology, that beautify our city. I've created jobs, mentored young architects, donated my services to community projects. That's not the story of someone who needed rescue. That's the story of someone who refused to stay down. The applause was thunderous now. Colin grabbed the microphone. How touching, he said, venom creeping into his polished voice. Of course, it helps when your boyfriend finances your projects. Tell me, Harper, how many of your contracts came from Ethan's connections? The room went silent again. This was the killing blow he'd planned. But Ethan was already walking toward the stage, pulling out his phone. May I? He asked, taking the microphone. Since we're sharing stories, let me clarify something. Yes, I invested in 4 of Harper's early projects. My return on those investments? 370%. Her buildings have won 6 architectural awards and generated millions in revenue. So yes, Colin, I used my connections to make money off your ex-wife's genius. Laughter rippled through the crowd. But while we're discussing finances, Ethan continued, his voice hardening, should we talk about the Brewer Foundation's recent audit? The one showing discrepancies in the charitable fund distributions? Colin lunged for the microphone. Or perhaps, Ethan said smoothly, sidestepping him, we should discuss why 3 major banks called in your loans last month, or why the IRS has been asking questions about your offshore accounts. The blood drained from Colin's face entirely. You're lying. Am I? Ethan turned to the crowd. Ask yourselves why the famous Brewer charity gala is being held in a hotel he no longer owns. Yes, that's right. The Cascade Grand was quietly sold 6 months ago to cover debts. The new owner was kind enough to honor the booking. Who? Colin's voice cracked. Who bought it? Ethan smiled. I did. Consider it another one of my investments. Like Harper, this place had been poorly managed, but had excellent bones. The room erupted. Colin stood frozen, his empire crumbling in real time as phones came out and whispers turned to shouts. That's when my boys decided to climb the stage. Hey, Lucas said into the microphone, his 8-year-old voice cutting through the chaos. Can we say something? The room quieted, charmed by the sight of 2 little boys in tuxedos. We don't really understand all the money stuff, Liam said. But we know our mom works really hard. She stays up late drawing buildings. She gets excited about sustainable concrete, like really excited. It's weird. Gentle laughter. And yeah, Ethan helps sometimes, Lucas added. But he helps us with homework too, and comes to our games and reads us stories. That's what dads do, right? Our mom told us that Colin is our biological father, Liam said, looking directly at Colin. But being a father is about more than biology. It's about showing up. You never showed up, Lucas finished quietly. The silence was deafening. Then someone started clapping. Patricia Morrison again, tears streaming down her face. The applause built until the chandelier crystals trembled with it. Colin stumbled off the stage and out of the ballroom, his retreat captured by 100 phones. The kingdom he'd built on cruelty and connections was falling, and everyone was watching. Mama! Lucas tugged my dress. Did we do okay? I knelt right there on the stage, pulling both boys into my arms. You did perfect, babies. Absolutely perfect. When I stood, Ethan was there, his eyes bright with pride and something else. Love. Pure, uncomplicated love. Ready to go home? He asked. Home. Yes, that's what we'd built together. Not just buildings of concrete and steel, but something stronger. Almost, I said. There's one more thing. I found Colin in the hotel's parking garage, slumped against his Maserati. The golden boy of Seattle reduced to a shadow in fluorescent light. When he saw me approaching, he straightened, trying to salvage some dignity. Come to gloat? His voice was hoarse. No, to end this. He laughed bitterly. It's already ended. You made sure of that. You and your boyfriend destroyed everything. You destroyed everything, I corrected. 8 years ago, when you decided I was disposable. Tonight, when you tried to humiliate me, Ethan just pulled back the curtain. I could have fought for custody, he snarled. Could have made your life hell. But you didn't. Because fighting would have meant paying child support, being responsible. And you've never been good at that, have you? His face twisted. They were accidents. You were supposed to be on birth control. They were babies, our babies, and you threw us away like garbage. I gave you a choice. Stay and be your pretty puppet or leave with nothing. I stepped closer. Some choice. You seem to have done fine, he spat, trading up to a bigger bank account. Is that really what you think? That I'm with Ethan for his money? I almost pitied him. Colin, I make my own money now. I have my own success. I chose Ethan because he sees me as a partner, not a possession. Partner, he scoffed. You were nothing when I met you. A nobody from a middle-class family who loved me, who taught me that money wasn't everything, who showed me what real partnership looked like. I pulled out my phone. You know what this is? Security footage from the night you threw us out. I kept it. Audio and all. His face went white. I could have destroyed you years ago, I continued. Could have played the victim, sold the story, taken you for everything in court. But I didn't want your money. I wanted my freedom. What do you want now? His voice was small, defeated. Nothing. Absolutely nothing from you. I put my phone away. Except this. Stay away from my sons. Ethan filed adoption papers 6 months ago. You signed them, remember? While drunk at your lawyer's office thinking they were something else? You tricked me. You abandoned them. We just made it legal. I turned to go, then paused. Colin, that night you said I was nothing without you? You were half right. I was nothing with you. Without you, I became everything. I left him there in the garage, a broken king in a crumbling castle. As I walked back to the lobby, my phone buzzed. Sarah, saw the videos online. So proud of you, sis. Then another. Ms. Lane, this is Amanda Chen from the Seattle Times. Would love to interview you about your architectural work and journey as a single mother in the industry. And another. Harper, it's Richard Morrison. Brilliant show tonight. Let's discuss the waterfront project Monday. By the time I reached the lobby, my phone was lighting up like a Christmas tree. 8 years of fighting in the shadows, and suddenly I was in the light. Ethan waited by the entrance with the boys, who were sharing a massive chocolate cake from the dessert table. Mama! Lucas's face was covered in frosting. The chef gave us extra because he said we were brave. Where did you go? Liam asked, concern in his voice. Just tying up loose ends, I said, ruffling his hair. Ethan studied my face. You okay? Better than okay. I looked at my little family, chosen, fought for, earned. Ready to go home? As we headed for the exit, someone called my name. I turned to find Margaret Winters, the city's most influential developer, hurrying toward us. Harper, darling, I've been trying to reach you for months. We absolutely must talk about the new museum project. And Ethan, wonderful to see you again. These must be the famous twins I've heard so much about. The boys straightened, suddenly shy. Margaret knelt to their level. I hear you gentlemen are quite the architecture critics. Your mother says you have strong opinions about her building models. The Morrison Center needs more windows in the kids' area, Lucas said seriously, for looking out when lessons are boring. Margaret laughed. Brilliant! Harper, Monday lunch? We'll bring the boys. I want their input on the children's wing. As she walked away, Ethan squeezed my hand. See? Your reputation stands on its own. Mama, Liam tugged my dress. Can we go home now? This bow tie is itchy. Home. The word settled in my chest like warmth. Yes, baby, let's go home. The Seattle sunrise painted our kitchen in shades of gold and possibility. I sat at the breakfast table, watching Ethan attempt to teach the boys his secret pancake flip technique. Flour dusted every surface. Lucas had batter in his hair. Liam was keeping score of successful flips versus floor casualties. The secret, Ethan said seriously, is confidence. You have to believe the pancake wants to flip. Pancakes don't have wants, Lucas argued. They're not sentient. Big word before 8 a.m., I murmured into my coffee. We looked it up, Liam explained, for science class. The doorbell rang. I found a delivery woman holding an enormous bouquet of calla lilies, my favorite. The card read, For the architect who builds dreams. Looking forward to Monday. Margaret Winters. Wow, Lucas said. Fancy flowers? Your mom deserves fancy flowers, Ethan said, successfully landing a perfect flip. The boys cheered. My phone buzzed. 16 new emails about potential projects, 3 interview requests, and 1 text from Sarah. Check the Seattle Times. Page 1 of the business section. I pulled up the digital edition. There it was. From ashes to architecture, Harper Lane's rise. A photo from last night. Me on stage, boys at my side, chin raised and unafraid. Is that good? Liam asked, reading over my shoulder. It's surreal, I admitted. You know what else is surreal? Ethan said casually, serving up pancakes. The waterfront project Morrison mentioned. I hear they want someone to design an entire sustainable community, residential, commercial, green spaces, the works. I set down my phone. Ethan, I had nothing to do with it, he said quickly. Scout's honor. Margaret called me last week for your contact info. That's all. Really? Really, although, he grinned. I might have mentioned that Lucas had some strong opinions about playground design. I do, Lucas confirmed. Swings should go higher, and monkey bars need better grip tape. See? Consultant material. I laughed, but tears pricked my eyes. Happy tears. The kind I'd forgotten existed during those dark years. Mama, why are you crying? Liam's face creased with worry. Sometimes people cry when they're happy, baby. That's weird, Lucas said. But okay. Ethan rounded the table, pulled something from his pocket, the velvet box from his office. Harper Lane, he said, dropping to one knee right there in our flower-covered kitchen. I asked you before, and you needed time. I'm asking again, with your boys as my witnesses. Not because you need saving, but because you've already saved yourself. Not because you need completing, but because you're already whole. I'm asking because I love you, because I love them, because I can't imagine a future that doesn't include Sunday pancakes and midnight blueprint sessions and boys who correct my grammar before coffee. Say yes, Lucas shouted. Let her answer, Liam hissed. I looked at my boys, flower in their hair and hope in their eyes, at Ethan, who'd seen my strength when I couldn't, at the sunrise painting new beginnings across our kitchen. Yes, I said. The boys erupted in cheers. Ethan slipped the ring onto my finger. Perfect fit, of course, and kissed me while Lucas made gagging sounds and Liam took photos with my phone. Can we call you Dad now? Lucas asked Ethan. Like, officially? That's up to you guys, Ethan said carefully. They exchanged one of their twin looks. Dad, Liam tested. Yeah, that works. Dad, Lucas agreed. Way better than Ethan, no offense. None taken, Ethan, Dad, laughed. My phone rang. Unknown number, but local. Harper Lane, I answered. Ms. Lane, this is Jonathan Parker from the AIA. Congratulations, you've been selected for this year's Emerging Architect Award. The ceremony is next month, and we'd love to have you give the keynote address. I nearly dropped the phone. The Emerging Architect Award. 10 years ago, I'd dreamed of even attending that ceremony. Ms. Lane, are you there? Yes, I managed. Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you so much. When I hung up, 3 pairs of eyes were watching me. More good news? Ethan asked. The AIA award. I won. Mama! The boys launched themselves at me. You're famous! Not famous, I corrected, but I was grinning. Just recognized. Same thing, Lucas said. Can we come to the ceremony? I can't think of anyone I'd rather have there. As we cleaned up breakfast, a family project, Ethan insisted, I caught sight of my reflection in the window. Not the scared girl who'd stood in the rain 8 years ago. Not Colin's discarded wife. Just Harper Lane. Architect, mother, partner, myself. Hey, Ethan said softly, catching me looking. You okay? I thought about Colin, probably waking up to news of his empire's collapse. About the hotel where he'd tried to break me, now owned by the man who'd helped me heal. About the boys who'd stood up for me with the fierce love only children can muster. About the future spreading before us like architectural plans, waiting to be built. Perfect, I said, meaning it. Absolutely perfect. Outside, Seattle was waking up. The city that had watched me fall was about to watch me soar. But more importantly, I was watching myself soar. And the view from here? Breathtaking. The power wasn't in bringing anyone down. It was in building yourself up, brick by brick, plan by plan, until you stood so tall that no one could ever make you feel small again. And as my family, my real, chosen, fought-for family, laughed in our sunlit kitchen, I knew the truth. I hadn't just taken back everything. I'd built something better.
Never let someone convince you that you're nothing without them. Your worth isn't defined by their absence. It's built by your resilience, your choices, and the people who truly stand by you. When life tries to break you, use those shattered pieces to build something stronger than they ever imagined.